What Tigerzord?
Zero Ranger 5, red!
Black Dragon Power.
Alright, welcome to a very, very, very belated episode of the Super Sentai Power of the Super Power Hour. Yeah. I forgot what we actually called this podcast.
Super Power Hour.
The Super Sentai Power Hour podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Golding.
I'm Wes Toombs.
I'm Jay now.
Alright, I am sorry for those of you who legitimately used to listen to this podcast. We have not done an episode of this in forever. But we wanted to bring this back kind of special because if you are in the Power Rangers community, you are very saddened because the one, the only, the legend, Jason David Frank, is no longer with us. By suicide. Something I didn't expect. Sorry, there will be tears in this episode.
Yes, it's different. It's different with your heroes here.
So, in the past, on these episodes, I may have made it seem like that I don't like Tommy or I don't like JDF. That is not the case at all. I absolutely love the character of Tommy just as much as anybody else. It's just, when it comes to like Red Rangers and leaders in Power Rangers series, he's just not at the top of my list. But I understand his significance. I love the character. He's right up there with the best of them, as he should be. So this is the way we're going to do this today. We've got a few different subsections that I want to go through, and the first is just how everyone first experienced the character of Tommy Oliver. And I guess I'll go first. I actually did, as most people know by now, I actually didn't start Power Rangers with Mighty Morphin. I started with Lightspeed, so I didn't experience Tommy's character until I saw the original movie on a VHS tape.
Oh, you saw him as White Tiger first.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, and I didn't really think much of it, to be completely honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought I was like 6.5 when I saw this. So I'm just like, hey, this is different than Lightspeed.
Oh, vastly, yeah.
But I thought it was great, to be completely honest. To be completely honest, I thought it was really corny, especially for, I mean, it's a 90s movie. What do you expect?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how it's gonna. Yeah, you know. Also, the 90s film, because they weren't using footage. They were all like it was
all American stuff.
Yeah, but for us, the CGI was a step backwards. You know, like I'll take toys filmed up close over CGI any day. And
yeah, I absolutely. To be completely honest, I mean, we all kind of look upon the original 90s Mighty Morphin movie with nostalgia glasses on, but I feel like it was legitimately a good film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the character of Tommy in that movie was also really good.
Yeah, Tommy. I always felt that Tommy and Jason were, fighting for leadership. The moment Jason was gone, no one stood in a candle. Like the Red Ranger was no longer possibly the leader once Jason left. It was Tommy.
Oh yeah, in the Mighty Morphin era, once Jason was gone, Tommy was leader all the way.
He was Zordon. He became leader by default. and when he became the White Ranger, just because it was a more powerful Ranger. You know, like they were
Indeed.
always kind of going back and forth, and then once White was given over, he was like, "Well, he's the new leader."
Yeah. And also, I mean, I don't want to make this episode all about the Mighty Morphin movie. We'll do that at another point. But just real quick, the fact that Zordon ended up being on like a bed in the middle of the command center at the end, dying and everything, that was just, oh my god, that's just pure 90s. What the fuck?
It was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
But anyway, that was my first experience with Tommy. Who's next?
I was not alive when my first premiere.
Lean closer.
My family that the probably I was around 2.5 first when I got into probably my earliest memories, really small figments of things of the points guys were would always be things CEO. Well, no, Tommy was over there in some form or nothing. So, you know, he was always there for me, and that's. Totally behind Tommy, you know, you don't look this. That's really stranger. And you know, throughout the years, I just kind of accepted it. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I've always loved this guy. I still have like really deep things that can. Holding any I felt like it because time it feel like it was in not until they didn't really show his best action qualities until Zero, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, that's where he really matured. That's where he really matured as a character.
I mean, we were talking a little bit before we started recording about Zio, and it's a really underrated series, I feel like, in the PR community. I mean, I feel like only me and Anthony have actually seen O-Ranger. I haven't finished it, but I've seen a good part of it. O-Ranger is a completely different beast. But when it comes to actually being faithful to O-Ranger and the footage and everything, Zio's really good with that, I feel. It's got the suits. It's obviously it's got the swords, or as they call them in Japan, mechs or whatever. Even the villain is the same. He's not called King Mondo in O-Ranger, but it's the same guy.
Yeah.
It's essentially, it's the same idea of machine and
Yep.
they go and this last line of defense. Right.
Hang on, guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Oh. Alright. Cool. Well, I guess I'll go next then, given we'll be right back. Out.
Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so I actually, even though I'm the only one on screen without a beard, I actually was alive, and I saw the very first episode of Power Rangers when it aired in 1993.
That is special. That is special.
I was 6.5 years old, and it came on, and literally, I almost had a like, I don't know what the opposite of a panic attack would be, but like,
and a super kid excited attack. I don't freaking know, man.
Call that a high, maybe, or a
euphoric attack. I don't know, but like, but yeah, the intro came on, and I just, all my siblings were like, you have to come here right now, like right now. I just started screaming like, get in here! I don't know what this is, like, get in here! And then we just were glued to the TV, and like my mom came in like, what is going on? And she was like, oh, okay, and she watched with us, and I've been a fan ever since. And so my introduction to Tommy was
Green with Evil.
Yeah, it's Green with Evil Part 1. You got this evil Green Ranger, which it kind of set the standard for like other seasons. Like, oh, you're going to start evil. At some point, we're going to have a Ranger that starts evil. Which I guess they didn't start doing that again until shortly after the Zordon era. But it kind of became standard later on. Though you're like, here's some Rangers, and you get like an evil one.
They've kind of used that trope at various times. I mean, obviously, Green with Evil was the first time that they did that, but they did it. I think was the next time they did that Lightspeed with Ryan.
Yes, I want to say.
Technically, I mean, it is very reminiscent with Evil. I mean, if you want evil Power Rangers, the next time they really did that, like, on a substantial, like, iconic level was probably the Psycho Rangers.
But I'm talking about, like, an evil Ranger turning good.
Then probably, yes, I would say Rescue was the...
Because as much as Lightspeed, Red, and Silver were, like, kind of dicks when they first started, they weren't ever evil, like...
I mean, the story with Ryan. I mean, if you've had spoiler alert if you haven't seen Lightspeed Rescue, the story with Ryan is that he was kind of brainwashed as a kid, and to be he like thought he was a demon, I guess. And then once he finally sees his sister and his family again on the other side, he's just like, "Holy shit, who am I?" And then after Lightspeed, they did the evil Ranger thing again, sort of with Wild Force, right?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I guess
sister becomes a Ranger, right? Isn't that his sister?
What?
She becomes a Ranger later on. Doesn't she?
In space, yeah, Corona.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was like, dude's evil sister becomes a Ranger.
Andros, yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, didn't Andros' sister become a Ranger?
Yeah, but not in space.
No, not in space, but she is,
Yeah, they kind of bring it back in Lost Galaxy.
Yeah. But But yeah, so for me it was Tommy. Right off the bat,
in Green with Evil.
so,
Yeah.
and so my opinion on him right off the bat was I initially was not a fan. I thought he was cool because he was evil, and so but then once he came over, I could tell through the episodes of like him and Jason. I was a diehard Jason fan. I was like Jason's the leader. What are you doing? And then as Tommy took over through the series, I started, I fell in love with him, especially given after Jason left and Tommy became like the longest running Ranger, and like you were saying in Zio, he really, really matured as a character, which was amazing.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder, Jay, but one of my favorite lines from the Tommy character of all time is Dino Thunder when he first gets the black dino gem.
I just watched that. I'm watching that.
And he's just whatever that lady villain was called, he is just like, aren't you a little old for this, Tommy? And he's just like, I may be old, but I can still pull it off. Boom! I freaking love that shit.
It was them doing comedy, but also throwing a little trip to us as fans, going, look, Tommy's a Ranger again. Yeah, like still giving a little bit of a, which I'm
as I said, when I was watching Power Rangers as a kid, I didn't have that much experience with Mighty Morphin. My only experience with Mighty Morphin even to Dino Thunder was the Mighty Morphin movie. Yeah. I didn't actually see the Mighty Morphin series until much later.
Like Anthony was saying, a lot of people, when they go back and realize Tommy was evil, they're like, wait, what happened? What did Tommy started a bad guy? And a lot of people who
what kills me is my first real experience. Well, I already went over this, but when it comes to actually like Tommy as a proper thing, Forever Red in Wild Force, when all the Red Rangers get together, and Tommy's like, he's not like the biggest thing in that episode, but like, he's still a big deal because besides Jason, he's the oldest Ranger. So that was Forever Red was my first experience with the Zeo powers for Tommy, and so I'm just like, wait a minute, this guy had more than one color. What the shit? And then I see him again in Dino Thunder, and I'm just like, wait a minute. Because it took me a second to realize that it was the same guy.
Oh yeah, because his hair was vastly different.
Yeah, and then when they because the main three Rangers in Dino Thunder, they never really called him Tommy. They called him Dr. Oliver. And I'm just like, wait a minute, Oliver. Why does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
And then when that woman, whatever the hell her name was, calls him Tommy in that section, I'm just like, holy shit, it's the same guy. And I'm just like, what the shit? I mean, obviously Saban and Power Rangers Company, whoever owns Power Rangers, would bring Tommy back again and again over the years.
He's 100%, I believe, 100% the reason the show is successful.
Of course. Without Tommy, Power Rangers would not be what it is today. No way, Jose.
Once he left his green, they were kind of bullied into bringing him back. The show wouldn't have been as successful. And if you realize it was actually going down, like the ratings were dropping and all stuff, and then Dino Thunder brought him right back because here's Tommy. Was like a little closer. Yes.
Jay, I don't think it's a matter of getting closer.
this again. They were actually supposed to bring back Austin St.
Wow.
Dino.
Wow.
Tommy, and I can remember the day Dino. They
Oh, so what built you up?
white.
Yeah.
Tommy for the year of Power Rangers Dino Thunder.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
That's legitimately cool.
It makes me a little bit sad knowing that they were originally going to bring Austin back, because that would have been, for me, that would have been
Yeah,
the biggest
that
thing.
also would have been cool. I mean, the show would have been really different.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Tommy, works. Yeah, I think he's a little. It was a little tough to believe he was a doctor, like a professor after that. But when it turned out it was paleontology, like a Dr. Palin. Well, that makes perfect sense, though. After he became a ranger, he just, just stated that,
Yeah.
Also, there's an instance where it was another Tommy stroking moment, but in Dino Thunder, you guys may remember the episode Legacy of Power, which, by the way, when you combine all the seasons together, that was the series' 500th episode.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a glorified clip show, yes.
It was so
but
good,
Yeah, it was worth watching. It was worth watching because Connor.
Know about it, about the previous seasons, like Trevor.
Connor.
Oh yeah, so for you guys,
blue and yellow. I'm trying to remember the Dino Thunder Rangers.
Names are Connor, Ethan, and Kira.
There we go. The better Power Rangers fan. All right. Anyway, Connor, Ethan, Kira, yeah, because they obviously had no idea who their professor was in the past in canon.
Like, our teacher is the oldest living Power Ranger, and then Haley comes in. It's like,
oldest,
just the best.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Not the oldest, just the best.
We were all conditioned to believe that he was the best. And with the way he was written, there were a lot of instances where they made it seem like he was the best.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. To me, I still think when it comes to overall, like, my skill of a ranger, I can never get over the athlete that is Adam, as Johnny Bosch. And I'll never get over it. It's for a different video, but man, that guy's impressive.
Yes, most definitely. And obviously this is about JDF, but when it comes to Johnny and Bosch, like, not only was he Adam in Power Rangers, he voice acted in like so many dubbed anime.
Yeah,
I'm just like, that man is another legend for another day. But yes, Johnny and Bosch. Anyway, so Jack disappeared again, so I guess we'll get to his first experiences with Tommy at some point. So next, I kind of want to go into personal experiences. Like, I know both of you have met the man. I unfortunately will never get to have that privilege.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
there are people who don't meet their heroes throughout the years, unfortunately. Oh, you have names. Oh, I'm so jealous, Jay.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And he signed it for free. You know why? Because at this point, I don't mean to seem like I'm not trying to rub anything in. I'm just giving credit to the amazing man that he is. But he signed it for free, which is pretty much handing me $50. Because at this point he recognized me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I've seen him at a handful of cons. The first time First time I saw him, I was dressed in full Spider-Man, and he was kind of a dick because I was kind of lingering around his table, and he was like, "These people are. Can you get this guy around, like, get out of here?" And I was just starstruck, like, you know. I took like candid pictures from afar, and then since then I met him a couple times at cons and got some merch from him. And then when we did this picture, he was like, "Oh, it's you," and I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" You know, hey. And then given this was such a quick process, they put you in and out and go. You know, he was like, "Well, come stop by back at the table," and I was like, "Yeah." When I came back, he asked me if I wanted to sign it. I told him I spent all my money on this, and he just took it, signed it anyway. And, you know,
Yeah,
so
that's crazy. I kind of have a similar experience, except obviously not with JDF. So I've probably shown this off in previous podcast episodes. This is the White Ranger Movie Morpher Legacy Edition. I got this at Steel City Comic Con in Pittsburgh a few years back. I went with Brandon and my old friend Luke.
So that, yeah, that was the first one. Like when it came to you know, meeting and running into him, and we were supposed to see him in Jersey, you know, like last week before that happened, or after that, yeah. But he, yeah, it got to the point. Like I said, I followed him after. It was after I saw him do Bat in the Sun did him versus Scorpion. And, yeah, like, and then years later they did him versus Ryu, which I'm so glad to the fan base that he won both times. Thank you everyone who voted for that, because it was close both times, but he won both times.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention those videos because when I first saw that stuff, I was just like, holy crap! There's videos of Tommy versus like these video game characters. That is super cool.
And I knew it was him right off the bat because I recognized his voice. His voice is so iconic underneath that mask, you know. But after seeing that, I started following him like more on YouTube, more as a person, and I came to realize very quickly that he is the only, at least from what I've seen, he's the only person that once the camera stopped rolling, he was still powering. Which is why
I think to broaden that, to be completely honest, I think that really applies to all the original crew.
Well, I don't know. I think JDF is.
Yeah.
Well, Jason David Frank is definitely special, but I'm saying in general.
I met them all except for David, and anyone like Jason or like, you know, Austin. So I've seen him meet fans. I've seen him meet kids. I've seen him meet, you know, like people who know, people who don't. And he's always a nice guy. You know, he's always this. Kimberly's always nice. Walter's amazing. Walter I know better than any of the other ones. Last time I saw him, I didn't even go up to his table. I just waited till he went outside to get some air because he does not smoke cigarettes. And so I talked to him outside during that time. Really nice guy. They're all really nice guys. You know, they're all really nice people. But Tommy is always leading with the exact. He leads his life with the exact same principles that Zordon was trying to instill. Like I said in the other video, I saw a clip from a con that wasn't something JDF had posted about. You know, like he'll constantly post stuff and be like, "Oh, look at this," and this guy did this, or he'll try and promote things he's doing. This was a video that was 100% taken by a father in line. You know, and it was him, and it was JDF with the guy's kid, giving a bunch of free merchandise from Legend of White Dragon. He's like, "Hey, this is for you, this is for you." And they took out a necklace. They put the whole necklace together, and he came in and had the kid lean in, and he goes, "This is very important. Anyway, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to put it on you. And you're like, as long as you wear this necklace, you have to be kind to people. It's the most important thing. As long as you're wearing this necklace, you have to be kind to people. It is, you know, like this." And he explained to this kid, and he made him repeat it back to him. And he was like, "That's what's important in life. That's what's important in this." And this is something that Jason tried to instill everywhere he went with everybody he knew. And like he pushed these ideas and this thing. And he was posting videos constantly going, "Hey people, you can do it. Like, don't let your depression get in your head. Don't let stuff like that." all the other Rangers, when they post stuff, they're just they were posting like, "Hey, it's gonna be great to see you guys. It was great this," and like, I'm coming to this town. I'm doing this. We got some big news from Rangers. Jason was the only one who was like, "Hey, I got some news coming up, but I want to talk to you guys first. If you're feeling this way today, if you're that," and like, he was a Power Ranger. He was a Power Ranger through his whole life.
No, I get you.
Like, when I posted, I went, for us, we lost Zordon. Like, this is our Zordon as a Power Ranger family. And that's who we lost, and that's part of why it's been so hard, because, as I said, like you said, you never got to meet him, and it sucks. My favorite music growing up was Linkin Park, and I had so many opportunities to go to the shows, and I never did. I never got to go to the shows.
I mean, just weird little side thing. I freaking love Linkin Park. To this day, when I first heard "In the End," I'm just like, holy shit, that song is incredible. I still listen to it this day. But anyway, back to JGF. I don't mean to. Unless you have more, we'll go to Anthony.
It was just that. That's when I first met him, I was like, because I felt like he got so much attention. I was like, he got so much attention. They gave you Mr. Popular away, and then as I got to actually know him and follow him a bit more, and see who the man was actually like, I went, you deserve all the fucking attention you get, bro. You're the
exactly. Like I followed him on Instagram, and like it. His account was a different vibe. Like, like you see all these, especially on Instagram. I mean, Instagram is just a shit show a lot of the time. When it comes to influencers or supposed influencers and famous people that they get an Instagram account mainly just for PR.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that Jason had an Instagram account, I'm just like, oh, sure, I'll follow him. Why not? I mean, I'm a Power Rangers fan. I feel like any Power Rangers fan should be following JDF on Instagram.
Agreed.
And then you actually get into looking at his posts. And not only did he post them himself, which is rare in the acting world in the first place, but as Jay was talking about, he actually embodied his character, like through and through. And I mean, Anthony will probably get into it in a moment when we get to his experiences with him. But Jason David Frank is legitimately the reason I feel like that so many people got into martial arts.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it wasn't that way for me because, as I said, I have a completely different experience when it comes to Tommy.
Yeah.
My reason for going into martial arts was Lightspeed Rescue because my parents saw me kicking walls in my house. and they were just like, we need to get this kid somewhere to do this properly.
So he's not kicking on walls, holes in our walls.
So I am a 3rd degree black belt today because of Carter Grayson.
Yeah.
But I can completely see how a lot of other people are where they are in the martial arts world today because of Tommy Oliver.
Yeah, it was Tommy and Jason for me, but like seeing the two of them go at it in that first episode, I'm like, that's the thing.
Actually, I made it to part 5 just before this started. Actually, I still have to watch part 5 before the end of the day today.
Yeah, it was just, they really went for it, and they were so good. People don't even understand. Like the kids in the Power Rangers now, like they're good. You see them doing kicks and stuff, but now they're almost always given some kind of power or some kind of ability, and.
If you comparing Dino Fury and now Cosmic Fury,
Like,
Yeah, comparing Dino Fury and now Cosmic Fury with any of the incarnations of Tommy is just such a stark contrast.
yeah.
I mean, I was going to get into this later, but I mean, I might as well. I feel like any. Don't worry, Anthony. We'll get to you in a moment. I just want to get this out real quick. I feel like every sixth Ranger has to live up to Tommy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they can't. They have to try, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the way it is. As a sixth Ranger in Power Rangers, you will be compared to Tommy Oliver. It's just the way it is. But anyway, enough of us. Go ahead, Anthony. Your experiences with JDF.
Okay, so yes, as Trevor mentioned, a lot of people did get into martial arts because of Power Rangers. For me, it was growing up with the original Ninja Turtles series because one of my other cousins was a huge Ninja Turtle fan, and I got a lot of VHSs from him. We found
Movies from the show.
stuff like that, shows and movies.
Yeah. These guys.
Like I grew up with, the original tapes and stuff like that from the original 80s and 90s show for Ninja Turtles. That's a story for another day. But my mom always knew that I was interested in karate, especially, or martial arts in general. It wasn't until 2005 when we found the right teacher. Because, like me, my teacher told me, my sensei said that my father abandoned me as well. And I'm like, instantly, I look up to this man, still to this day. 17 years of training with him as a father figure. Him and my grandfather are the big other figures in my life since my father left me. So where this all connects with Jason, of course, yes, Tommy was the coolest thing about the show for me, and he was the one that I thought, this is, along with Jason, of course, this is the guy who seems like a legitimate martial artist. He's a legitimate, great competitor and everything else. I finally saw, maybe a month or two before the con, in October 2013, New York Comic Con hits, and JDF was announced as a guest. I'm like, I have to go. This is my favorite frickin' Ranger ever. And I got on when his line was still kind of short. By the time I got done with meeting him, the line had tripled in size. You could imagine. But I get up to him, because I don't want to keep them waiting and everything too long. Oh, probably mention, here comes the free stuff that Jay was talking about, because while people were waiting in line, he said he had some wristbands that he wanted to give out that said, JDF, live fearlessly. And he's like, but you gotta live fearlessly, that's the thing. And he threw them out into the crowd, and I actually caught one. And fortunately, this is the unfortunate part of the story. I did, about a month later, I was at a camp for my college, and unfortunately, I left it. I took it off when I went to go in the shower because I didn't want it to get or anything like that. And they couldn't find it on property anywhere. I'm like, no. At the same time, there is a silver lining here, because I did get to meet him. At the time, they weren't selling the Green Ranger, White Ranger in Toys R Us yet. They only had this, the original Power, and the 24-karat gold version that was only an exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con, which would cost you hundreds of dollars second on eBay. But I get up there because I wanted to get it all out of the way, and I'm so starstruck. I've got butterflies in my stomach. It's a miracle that I didn't freaking faint, because my heart was pounding on my chest. I'm like, oh my god, my favorite Ranger right here. After he signed my Morpher, I'm like, you probably get this all the time, but you are my idol. You're the whole reason I get the martial arts. I couldn't imagine my life without it at this point. And he's like, oh, me too, man. And I'm like, man, I've been training for 8 years at the time with it now, and I'm almost ready for my brown belt. He's like, sweet, keep training hard, man. And he signs a little thing that he was giving out for his reality show, and he's like, man, watch it. And he's like, yes, my Morphin life. Keep training hard, and thanks for coming out. I'm like, thank you for being here, man. I shake his hand. Next year, I got to see him, obviously, and this time he got to sign my Legacy Dragon Dagger and my Legacy Power Morphin, since finally it was available at Toys R Us, and it wasn't going to $500. But I told him, it's like, hey, so we actually met last year. You probably don't remember me, but I was telling you about how I was going to be getting tested for my brown belt soon. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I passed the test a month or two later. And he's like, awesome. And he gives me a high five. And, I get the autographs from him. I also paid for an autograph for my friend PJ. He told me that he'd be willing to compensate me the money that I put up for him. He doubled it that year. I'm pretty sure when he signed this for me, he was $20 at the event, and then next year he was $40 an autograph.
Yeah, mine was the one he gave me for free would have been 50.
I believe that. So, I tell him, thank you so much for being an inspiration, this and that. And he says, so what's your friend going to do for you now that you got that autograph for him? I'm like, he's going to pay me back the money that I put up for him. We both laughed about it. And then 8 years pass. This was 3 months ago at Power MorphCon. Everyone knows that is like top priority for me to go every year. Ever since I went for the first time. 2016, I'm like, this has to be a buy-in thing for us. This is priority one. No more other conventions. This is the top one. As a Power Ranger, you have to experience it at least once in your life.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah, same.
First day, he and I, we were talking about the event and stuff like that, about how a few of the originals were going to be there, and he tells me he wants to play me in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I still play casually here and there. And he tells me, I want to play you in a match, and if I win, you have to get my Morpher signed by JDF. I'm like, okay. I win the match, but then he's like, no. Best 2 out of 3 matches. I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. I'm tired of playing. Please, can we just, all right, fine. So unfortunately, I did lose 2 matches in a row after that, and to put you in perspective for the viewers out there that don't understand, a match is the best 2 out of 3 duels, so like rounds, and this man wanted me to play best 2 out of 3 matches, so a potential for 9 freaking duels in a row. I'm like, okay, it's time to play. But anyway, so I lose, and then he's like, all right, I'll get the Morphers now. I'm like, wait, Morphers, plural? I thought we were only doing for the green and white. And he's like, no, I've got the original Morpher too. I want that signed as well. I'm like, come on, man. And he's like, hey, listen, I will pay for every signature you get. And he did. I got ASJ, I got Walter, I got Catherine Hiller, he already had Johnny Young Bosch signed on it, Karen Ashley. So he's got nearly everybody signed now. And he has the 24 karat gold Morpher. And because it wouldn't fit in my bag because of, a week's worth of luggage and stuff like that, I had to take the Morpher out, and I just took the boxes themselves with me, and I waited on JDF's line forever. And as you can imagine, you probably heard stories about this, even at 14 New York Comic Con he did this. He stays hours after the convention just to make sure he's getting everybody. And this was no exception. I get up to him and I let him know, we've actually met before. I was training for my brown belt back then I got it the next year, and to this day, I'm actually, as of last year, I'm a second degree black belt, and he said, oh, congratulations, man, and stuff like that. Gives me a fist bump, he signs his Legend of White Dragon card for me. He was giving those out, by the way. It is disgusting to see how people are trying to capitalize on his death now, selling those for $100 or more, and it's like, this right here, these signature, they will never be sold by me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about this freaking Aisha signature I got on my movie Morpher. I mean, it's not JDF obviously, but I feel the same way. This is never leaving my house.
A woman posted in a group. I got this signed by JDF like 6 years ago or something like that, and I never thought about selling it, but now that he's gone, I feel like it could be worth so much more. Like, should I sell it? And right away I was like, are you kidding me? Like, no. In what world would you ever sell that? I was like, do not. I'm like, JDF, he says it multiple times. If anyone has ever got it, you know, he said if he signed anything from you from that's original from the 90s, he tells you to your face, I'm signing the original stuff. This means you and I are connected from 1993. He's like, this is a part of me I'm giving you, and it's from 1993, and that's me to you, and that's that, and like that's something, and you're gonna sell that? Like this is, he specifically makes it so personal, and I can't imagine how anyone would ever
yeah, I mean,
even think about it.
just that's a deal for another day. Go ahead, Anthony.
Get online, and I'm telling him how this box isn't mine. This is actually a friend of mine's. He couldn't make it to the event, and he asked me to get it signed for him, and he said he would pay me back for the money that I put up for him. He's like, well, that's a good friend of yours, like to have a collection like this. It's like, this is a very rare item, man. And like, you're a good friend to help him out and stuff like that. One thing I don't remember if I told him. So anyone who doesn't know, Chris Casamassa, a very prolific stunt actor and martial artist, Hollywood especially, he's the one who Scorpion in the 1995 movie. He trained JDF. Now, why is this special to me? Well, my sensei was trained in the Red Dragon style by his father, Louis Casamassa. So in a way, JDF was a part of my martial arts lineage and family. So I don't know if I told him that. It's like, hey, your master's father trained my sensei. If I hadn't, then damn it, I'm so fucking regretful of that. I don't regret a lot of things these days, but that is one thing I will regret, along with losing my band that I got from him almost a year ago now. But thank goodness I had that opportunity to meet him one last time and tell him, hey, I'm a black belt now, and it's all because of you, because you were always the coolest thing for me growing up, and, you know, I tried to your style, your ki, everything, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to just iconic Power Rangers crap, I feel like Jason's ki eyes as Tommy are like the most iconic thing on the planet. Yeah. I'm just like that is big part of the character. like there is no Tommy without those ki eyes.
Like Tommy's the lifeblood of Power Rangers, but Jason's helmet is still the image. You know, like Jason's helmet is still the image, but you know, Tommy is the 100% the star. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into well, this is probably going to be a hard question for you guys, but I'll ask it anyway, or maybe it won't be. I really don't know. What is your favorite incarnation of Tommy, like Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Dino Thunder, or Turbo?
It's a very close tie, as I mentioned earlier. For me, like, so in terms of iconic, for me, it's definitely Green. But for me, I think the best version of him is Zeo Red, because, like, first of all, the Zeo crystal, as we know, is something that grows stronger and stronger over time. I mean, we see how, you know, at the very last episode of Zeo, since, you know, the Zeo crystal has had time to charge over time and everything, and then in that episode where Triforia, as the Gold Ranger, makes them all grow, all of a sudden they're wipe the floor with the whole machine empire and everything. It's more than anything else, the word to describe Zeo is triumphant. They're always overcoming obstacles because of how strong their powers are and stuff like that. I mean, Zeo for me is always special because, again, I have those vague memories and old VHS recorded tapes from Fox Kids, along with episodes of Big Bad Beetleborgs. I had a bunch of episodes recorded of the Gold Ranger saga and stuff after that, so a lot of those episodes are very special to me. I mean, the Zeo suit, the morphing sequence, the theme song, it's just so freaking nostalgic for me. And, you know, for me, seeing Tommy really come out of his shell and truly be a leader in that role, in that regard, I don't care what anyone says. I know that even JDF himself said he hated the star on his helmet. I love that suit. And love him in that.
I just feel like given they were doing by number, you know, and obviously they were taking footage from, you know, from its counterpart show, so it's not like they could alter the star because of the helmet. I just think the original idea, given it was 1.23, you know, to me, if you gave him just a upside down house, you know, like almost like Lightspeed style, that would have been fine. You know, you still got 5 sides. You know what I mean? Like it would have been fine. Like.
too, but the star iconic for me.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
so,
honestly, when I have a very controversial opinion on the Zeo suits, or the O-Ranger Zeo suits. They are not my favorite by a long shot. It's not that I think the symbols on the heads are stupid or anything. I mean, the morphing sequence itself is fine. It's great. It's just the suits themselves. I don't know what it is about them. There's just something that I can't get past, and I don't know what it is.
It's not for everybody. But you go ahead. I told you my favorites. Now you guys give yours.
Go ahead, Jay.
well, it was. I think, like, when it comes to Tommy as a character, when it comes to his character, I 100% agree. I think the best version of him was Zeo, but I think it's because I think that was where he came into his own. I think that's where he finally learned, like, exactly who, the kind of leader he had to be, before he was able to pass the reins, and, like, it was, but when it comes to, like, just what goes to my head when I go, oh, Tommy's so fucking cool, it's actually White. The White Ranger, when, like, Green Ranger was so cool, Green Ranger was so cool, and the White Ranger, because at the time I didn't know it was taken from a different series, completely different look, like, completely different look than the Mighty Morphin Rangers, and he came in different shield, different. The face was like still like, this face is totally different. Yeah, you went from,
Oh yeah, you went from the Jew Ranger suits to Die Ranger.
exactly. Yeah, which Die Ranger we never got. We never got an American version. We only got the white, and those suits were really cool. But, like,
The show.
yeah, but they were like dinosaurs, and then he comes up tiger helmet, and I was like, are you kidding me, guys? Like, this is so cool. And then he took the helmet off, and it was Tommy, and I was like, come on, guy, like, it was it was amazing. And I think just the excitement of seeing how cool this new Ranger was, and then going, oh, thank God, it's still fucking Tommy. Like, I think that is what that's what kept it, makes it my favorite for me, because it was just the moment as a kid experiencing that. I don't, even seeing Tommy come back in other episodes, I kind of expected it. This was the most unexpected thing for me, like, and being how cool it was when he came down all slow-mo from the ceiling, like,
descending from heaven itself.
Exactly. And see, and now you play, and now, I have a dark sense of humor, and I apologize, but now you play that scene in reverse, and he puts the helmet on and leaves. But yeah, as a
White,
movie, but as a Ranger, it's White. White is just, that was the coolest.
Yeah.
And we cannot forget that Green and White, no other Ranger, to my knowledge, has had a kick-ass theme song like those two versions have in any sense.
Yeah. White Ranger, Tiger Power, go Green Ranger. Like, yeah.
Although a very close, like, a contender, they're all in the same league. Gold Ranger's theme song in Zeo is freaking amazing. And then they have the Silver Ranger theme song for In Space.
Yep.
The original three. So
Yeah, definitely. It's really hard question for me, because obviously, if you know me, red is my favorite color. Usually the Red Ranger is my favorite. So you would think Zeo Ranger Red would be my favorite incarnation of Tommy. But I'm actually going to go a little bit offbeat and say the most recent version of the character in the Ninja whatever. Yeah, Ninja Steel. Because I really loved that Master Morpher. I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah, he got that thing. Like, the biggest like out of left field moment in the show. My brother, who especially hates how much I've overhyped Tommy over the years, and that's probably why he wasn't a big fan, because I was just always shoving it down his throat. How Tommy is the best, Tommy is the best, and then it's like that Master Morpher comes up and he's like, oh great, Tommy's even more over.
Like now, how are you gonna actually?
But like, I don't care what it does. I don't care how he got it. All I care is it exists and it's super cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like you can be the White Ranger, you can be the Green Ranger, you can be the Zeo Red, you can be the Dino Thunder. It's like, what the freak? And he's like fighting a robot version of himself, and it's just like, I love it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just love it. But when it comes to, like, singular color, I'd probably say Dino Thunder, just because of that one moment.
It's so freaking cool. I did my best. I couldn't wear the whole suit today, but I did to make sure to wear red, green, white, black. Like, yeah, red, white, green, black. But yeah, I can't get over how cool the friggin' the Dino Thunder suit is. I had I found the weapon, the black. I can't remember what his name is. It was like, yeah, thank you. I found the Brachio staff at the thrift store, and it was like a month ago. And I put it back because I was like, I don't really need this right now. And I didn't really watch that season so much or anything, And now I'm kicking myself in the teeth over and over because like it's obviously long gone. I've been back to that thrift store plenty of times. But yeah, that suit was so freaking cool.
Yeah, I mean, the Alba Ranger suits are really cool. They really are nice.
Yeah. I get Alba Ranger on DVD this Christmas. That's one of the things I asked my brother. That's what I want you to get from me. Since Shout Factory is back to releasing Super Sentai on DVD, one of the seasons they've recently released, please get it, because I need to check it.
I actually recently started watching Gal Ranger.
Oh yeah, Wild Forces counterpart.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no Forever Red because that didn't exist. Yeah. But it was an anniversary season, so it does have its own anniversary episode for Super Sentai. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, obviously Gal Ranger and Wild Force, they're pretty much the same thing, to be completely honest.
Verbatim with the script.
But this isn't about Gal Ranger, this is about Jason. I mean, yes. Now, this is something me and Anthony probably are going to know more than you, Jay, but I still want to talk about it and get your opinions on our side of it. Tommy's characters versus their Sentai counterparts.
Okay.
So, like, Green Ranger Tommy versus Burai, and White Ranger Tommy versus that little Die Ranger kid.
His name is Poe.
Thank you.
I assume, is it safe to assume that no Sentai series has done what the American series have done, where characters have remained?
Oh, like carry over from one season to another?
Yeah, Sentai doesn't do that.
It's only done like the way we did after Zordon.
Yeah, every Sentai series has always been
new teams.
It's time 1 year. And then it's a completely new story, completely new set of characters.
A little bit later on, and here's Jack again.
Jack, buddy.
So
we missed it. We had strippers on the show for
I don't think he can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you. All right. So we were getting into some other topic, but since you disappeared, we never wholly nuggets of Power Rangers history.
I love the holy crap.
Nice, bro.
That's incredible.
Oh,
all right, so before we move on to what we were going to talk about next, we never got to any experiences you might have had with JDF.
Well, I guess my best experience would be meeting him in Knoxville.
Tennessee.
Like,
Cool.
I walked from Morristown, Tennessee to Knoxville to meet him.
Shit. Now that's dedication. I love it.
And I told, while I was packing up, I said, I gotta get going because I got a long walk. He said, "Where are you walking to?" I said,
Morristown.
Morristown, yeah. And he says, if I'm not too busy, or so, like, he offered to give me a ride home.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
So I met his daughter, and I gave, like, I think she still has it, but, like, I gave them my cell phone number just in case they were deciding to, turn around to actually give me the ride and stuff. Because he was heading toward Nashville and I was going the other way. But he offered, and that meant a lot. So he does a lot for people. That's probably my best experience with him. But
That's incredible.
my
That's
favorite
awesome.
storyline of them would probably be Lord Draken from the comics.
Nice. I was wondering if anyone was going to go that way because I adored that was something that happened and that he got on board with it and backed it right away.
Yeah. Just real quick on the topic of Lord Draken. For those of you who haven't seen this podcast in the past, I have mentioned it. I am writing a Super Sentai Power Rangers fanfiction. And it centers around Lord Draken merging these different worlds and trying to take over both.
Like as if Sentai and ours are two different parts of the same universe?
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
that's a really cool idea. That's a really
and
cool idea.
also something that Anthony and I want to do at some point once it's finished and whatever. That's going to be a long way off, by the way. Something that Anthony and I want to do is we want to make it like an audio drama.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So, Jay, I don't know if you want to be a part of that somehow.
100%. I'm down for anything.
And Jack, I don't know if you want to get in on that somehow as well.
Yeah, I'm actually doing something similar too, with a friend of mine. Like, have you heard of Mythic Legends?
The Legends of Tiranaug or whatever?
No, Mythic Legends is that whoever has TikTok is a Power Ranger fan thing.
I think I've heard about it. I'm not on TikTok that often.
Yeah,
he's recasting for like 2 Rangers.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, like he needs like two Rangers because a person that was a Ranger has to go for personal reasons.
Oh, it's a shame.
And then another one, the person just like up and vanished on us.
Yeah, but I don't want to make this all about me because this is about Jason and about memorializing his legacy. But it would, for anybody who's listening to this or watching this on YouTube, it would really make me happy, and I would really appreciate it if you would read the fan fiction, because I am going to be posting it on I can't remember the name of the website, but I'm going to be posting it on this website once I get access to it, because they have this invitation system where you have to give them your email address and they'll send you an invite to join. So once I get that invite to join, I will be posting the fanfiction on that website. I would beyond appreciate it if you would just read it, because I have worked on it for a long time, and I love Super Sentai, I love Power Rangers, and Tommy is a huge part of that fanfiction. So if you care about Tommy and you care about Power Rangers, it would mean a lot to me. But anyway, and also, our friend Anthony has helped me write it. So, and he's going to be helping me write it in the future. So, and if any of you guys want to help me write it as well, I would really appreciate that, because I am not all knowledgeable about Power Rangers. So, anyway, enough about me, enough about the fanfiction. I will leave the link to the website down below. And if you want to just read the fanfiction without me posting it, I will send you a personal link to my Google Docs. But enough about me. So, Jack, what we were getting into was Tommy versus his Super Sentai counterparts. I don't know how much Sentai you've seen.
I've seen quite a bit.
Alright, good. Alright, so let's start with Tommy Oliver Green versus Burai. I know Burai did not have as big a role in Jew Ranger. He had a significant role, but it wasn't as big a role.
I'll have to give it to... when it comes to the Green Ranger, I will have to give it to the Super Sentai, because yes, Tommy's a good martial artist, but...
I got this call real quick, sorry.
Yeah, you do, UJ.
But...
Yeah, no, sorry.
He knows sports, competition style martial arts. While Burai knows ancient... I will kill you martial arts if I need to.
Right.
Plus the difference between the Dragon Zord and Dragon Caesar is Dragon Caesar is sentient, while Dragon Zord is not. So,
well, that's the thing that America kind of does with Japanese talking mechs in the first place. I mean, I don't think Dragon Caesar talked. I didn't actually see Burai episodes. But I know that America, whenever there's a sentient Zord, they tend to take that out.
Especially when, in Jew Ranger, it's established that the Guardian Beasts themselves are gods, yes. And, you never can television. So,
yeah, American television has this thing about religion.
It's like the fact that no one's ever killed, no one destroyed, there's very specific things American television has to do.
Yeah, and in Super Sentai, they get violent. Things get violent. And that's not just Jew Ranger, that's Super Sentai in general. Things get violent.
Say that I should give the edge to Burai, because from the moment we meet him, he's a bad motherfucker. But like some kid, a gnome, basically freaked him from prison because he looked up to him and a hug or something like that. Burai essentially just shoved in his face and like, get out, please, kid. And he calls himself a Mono Tribe Prince, like Geki, the Red Ranger in that series is, and he gets into the mech, the Daijujin, Great Beast God, and just like in Mighty Morphin, Green with Evil, Part 1, out of control, wrecks the Rangers, because that's the sent footage, the original footage and everything. And in the episode, they give him Bandora, Rita's counterpart from the Sentai. She gives him, says that there's another legendary weapon, because that's what they're called, the power weapons.
They're called the power weapons, they're called the legendary weapons in Jew Ranger.
There's been out there called the Hell Freak Sword. It's not a legendary weapon, it's actually a cursed sword that drives the wielder mad. And Burai is already pissed off enough, because, it's established that...
so Bandora pretty much just takes advantage of him.
So the Green...
damn.
the green counterpart is evil simply because of the sword, not because he's put under a spell?
Not exactly. So here's how it works. Here's the entire backstory. Once Barai is freed, their mentor has to tell Geki that you're actually not the son of the biological son of the Yamato tribe king. You're actually the son of the Black Knight from the same tribe. And you were given up when Barai was 8 years old. You were 1. And the Black Knight used that as a way to rebel against the king, and the Black Knight died in battle. Barai, as a child, saw this all go down and swears revenge for his father. So he developed a hatred for Geki. And if that were bad enough, he was also training to be a Zhu Ranger, and somehow he became one. But by the time he did, everyone had beaten Gondor and gone home. So now he was even more dogs. Imagine that guy being as pissed off and, angry at people that he is, and then putting a sword in his hand that is supposed to amplify his anger and rage. Bond had to do a lot of friggin' editing to make this family friendly. A lot. So,
they only had 14 episodes worth of footage of Green to work.
Yes, they did, because here's the thing. That green candle, that concept kind of came from Zhu Ranger as well, because in the show, and towards the end of when they finally turn Barai good, a little KK reject called Clotho, the spirit of life, essentially, brings Barai to this lapless room, essentially, where, it exists beyond time and space, where essentially, it's like, so you actually died in a cave years ago, but you so as long. However, you see this little green candle right here? Every time you go to the real world, it burns a little. And when it burns completely, you die.
So, Rick and Morty shit. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hours to live. And then after they turn him good and Clotho brings him back into the lapless room, it's like you have 24 hours left. Or was it 18 hours? It doesn't matter. Basically, Barai has to be very careful whenever he goes out into the real world. So he only goes out during an emergency. So whenever Geki is trying for his brother's help and stuff like that, he goes and then just quickly vanishes and everything. And they find out later on in the that Barai is on borrowed time and everything like that. And they wanted to help, so they're trying to get the elixir of life to basically restore, but instead used it to help a little kid who was actually, like, as Barai is getting closer and closer to death, he has these dreams of this kid who is destined for the next coach into the afterlife to take him away into the next world. And Barai somehow is able to find this kid. He finds out big Dragon Ranger fan, so he lets him ride on Dragon Caesar. Let that sink in for a minute. This man gets a little kid in Japan and lets him ride on his hoary neck in the sky. And of course this is stupid because it puts him and the kid right in the line of danger and stuff.
Yeah.
Kid now is in a hospital and stuff like that, and on the it never backfires. He's destined for death now because I put him in danger. So the uses the life to restore the kid, but in Barai's last minutes, he passes on his powers to his brother and dies in his brother's arms and stuff like that. So Barai lives through Geki. And supposedly, kids for the show who are fans of the show tried to write writers and let them restore Barai somehow and whatever and stuff like that. But keeping Barai dead was a way that Japanese writers told the kids that, hey, somehow parents just died. But at least as he was being into the next world by that stagecoach, he could walk, ride by an empty bench where that kid is no longer waiting.
That's insane.
Barai beats Tommy, unfortunately, because he is a much more well-trained, classically trained warrior rather than a court.
Tommy had no idea what was going on.
Ko for Die Range loses to Tommy because he's a snot snot-nosed kid, 9 years old, and a pervert at that. Goro, the Red Zeo Ranger for, the Red O Ranger for, O Ranger. They're about on the same even playing field because Goro's a soldier for the UAOH, and he could probably hold his own against Tommy because he's trained in all sorts of combat, as you can imagine most military is. Car Ranger, believe his name is Kyosuke. I believe Tommy would kick his ass in a second.
Almost definitely. I mean, Car Ranger was a joke series anyway.
Meant to be that way, though. And then Abba Ranger, I haven't seen Abba Ranger, so I can't say if
not all of it, but I have seen a lot of it. I don't remember the character's name in Abba Ranger, but Asuka, yeah. He is sort of this, not really a celestial figure, but he's from a world where dinosaurs exist, and sort of another dimension where dinosaurs exist.
This is Dino Thunder you're talking, right?
Yeah.
So that's, okay.
Dino Thunder and Abba Ranger. They kind of, in this world, they kind of get their powers, like, literally directly from the dinosaurs themselves, I believe.
Dino guts. Yep.
Yeah. So, and in the very first episode of the Abba Ranger, you see Asuka being chased by the main villains of the series, and he's kind of forced to go into our dimension. Okay. And when he does this, he loses his power.
Oh.
But when it comes to actual, like, martial arts ability and combat, Tommy definitely wins. It's not that by that big a margin, but it's a big enough margin.
Yeah.
Because Asuka was never really trained. He was kind of trained in trial by combat.
I'm Tommy became Dino Thunder Black. He had years of experience anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, a lot of people don't realize it's a very iconic, thing. But in that first scene, when you first see Tommy, which they put in his opener, you ever watch it back? It's one take, it's one shot. It's not edited. It's one shot, and Tommy does that kick, 360, about 5 feet up the air, 3 times in a row. He boom, 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 3 times in a row. And every time I watch that, I've never been able to do that in my entire life. Like, I can do that kick, but not that high. Landing grace and then do it 2 more times in a row without losing momentum or anything like that. Like, the man was an insane athlete his entire life. Like, his entire life. It blew me away.
I've done some crazy shit sparring at the dojo, but never, like, 3 spinning kicks in a row. I mean, my style doesn't really do that anyway, but...
So high, I don't understand.
Yeah, I get spinning kicks enough as it is. I can barely do a spinning hook kick. But, to see Tommy do that in his first scene in Mighty Morphin, and again, that's fresh in my mind because I was just watching Evil earlier, to see 3 kicks, I've always tried to replicate it. I suck every time, man.
Yeah. I mean, I could never do anything like that because, just a real quick side tangent about my style of martial arts. I study a style called Isshin-Ryu. It's a combination between Goju-Ryu and Shorin-Ryu.
I study Shorin-Ryu myself.
Oh, awesome sauce. Maybe later on we should talk about some differences and similarities and shit. That would be really nice. But anyway, Isshin-Ryu is a combination of Goju-Ryu and Shorin-Ryu with a little bit of Kenpo in there for weapons. Isshin-Ryu was made. It's a little bit controversial when the actual start was, but it was created by a man called Tatsuo Shimabuku. He was a master in both styles, and he kind of just started messing around, and he was just like, this works, this doesn't. I don't know, does Shorinru have a horizontal fist?
Yes, we do. Yeah, that's we call
Ishinru
it.
doesn't. We have a vertical fist.
Oh, I have that too. Yes, this is a reverse punch. This is vertical fist, inverted, etc.
Well, we only do the vertical in Ishinru. And our thumb is on top.
Okay.
So we don't do this. We do this. And the reasoning behind that is when your thumb is on top and you punch from your hip, there's a skeletal line that lines up in your arm and it strengthens your attack.
Interesting. Well,
but me and Anthony can talk about more about that later. In Ishinru, as I said,
percent on my battery, I have to go get a haircut. So you guys finish the podcast without me. I will catch you later. So much for having me on. Really
of course, Anthony. You do you. Have a good one.
Rest in power. I will always miss you. There will never be another like you. May the power protect you all.
Of course. All right.
But
anyway, so Ishinru doesn't have any kicks like that. We have hook kicks, we have roundhouse kicks, but we don't really do any spinning bullshit like that.
Yeah, nothing flashy. It was all for show. You know? He says that training just showing off.
Yeah, exactly. We don't. Ishinru is not flashy at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's a combat art first.
Yeah.
But anyway, when it comes to other incarnation, actually, Dino Thunder was the last incarnation of the character, so that's it.
well, you can't forget Lord Draken.
But that doesn't have a counterpart. That's only American.
Yeah, exactly. Lord Draken doesn't have a Sentai counterpart, and neither does Black Dragon.
But that's also for a lot of people who don't.
Writing it in Super Sentai.
What was that?
They could end up writing it in Super Sentai. You never know.
Well, yeah, but to be completely honest, Jack, I really don't see that happening. Lord Draken is a comic character, and yes, manga is a huge thing in Japan, and I think there is such a thing as a Super Sentai manga. I've seen that somewhere.
What a lot of people don't realize, which is what I mentioned earlier, when they watch and then when they watch NPR, is that part of why the Green Ranger's time was so short-lived is because they only had those 14 episodes to work with, and because of the storyline, that's why you notice almost every episode that Tommy's involved, the 5 Rangers, the team gets into trouble first, and Tommy's off doing his own thing. And then they later call him in for help.
Well, yeah, that's because of the way Jew Ranger was set up.
Yeah, which is what Anthony just explained. That he only ever, that he was only good. But if you watch Mighty Morphin, you don't know that.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's kind of like, why is Tommy
if you have no knowledge of Jew Ranger, if you have no knowledge of Jew Ranger, it is kind of a weird thing to see that he's not really a permanent member of the team in Mighty Morphin, at least in the first season.
He's in the woods, like, practicing karate, and there's Zord's falling down, and Zord's like, bro, they need you. He's like, oh, crap, okay, my bad, I'm on my way.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you'll have to give your own perspective, because you were there for it, but I can only imagine, you already got into this a little bit, but I can only imagine watching Season 2 of Mighty Morphin, and being like, oh, we're probably never going to see Tommy again.
Yeah.
And then Zoran was just like, hey, Rangers, come to the command center. We got something special for you.
Yeah. It was so good, especially it was, like I said, it was such an iconic time and moment that's just, like, as a kid, that was just great. And White, and as weird as it is, he was almost more involved in the show than Tommy's character, or than the Green Ranger's character was.
Oh yeah, definitely. Although I gotta give credit to the people at Saban in the 90s because they really had to take this footage.
Yep. I was just talking about that the other day.
Yeah, they really had to take this footage that a lot of Americans, probably most Americans, had no idea was a thing, and then adapt it to something that Americans would probably understand.
Yeah.
Like, I would think again, you'll have to give your own perspective, but I would think that in the 90s, most Americans knew who Godzilla was.
Okay, yeah. We definitely knew who Godzilla was, but it was also, but as a kid, he wasn't so popular or prominent because we got him again in '99 when they did the Godzilla, or 2000 when they did Godzilla.
There was that terrible Godzilla movie in the 90s.
Yeah, and that's what brought back Godzilla for us. Before that was only old stuff. So as a kid,
you really didn't have experience with Godzilla.
Yeah. So when the Dragon's Roar popped up, no part of my brain was like Godzilla, because that's what. If you look at this, you go, yeah, that's Mecha Godzilla, guys. What are you talking about? But at the time, no, that never went through my head at all. It was just super cool.
Actually, real quick, Jack, I don't think we ever got your first experiences with the Tommy character. When did you first experience Tommy?
My first experience was actually when I was let's see, yeah, it was still, the original was still airing around the time.
Oh, nice. You're cool. You're a bit older than I am.
Yeah. So I was 2. For a 2-year-old, TV inclined.
Well, you just saw colors in action.
Yeah, I just saw colors in action. Sick and crying all day. My mom couldn't get me to shut up, and she was flipping through the channels trying to find something for me to sit down, and saw these people in colorful costumes.
Jumping around.
As soon as I saw it, I went quiet and I started laughing and giggling.
That's awesome.
All right, so 2-year-old Jack watching Tommy Oliver turn from green with evil. Okay.
You were just babysat by the Power Rangers, just didn't know it.
Yeah. The Power Rangers were my babysitters.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, that's incredible.
All right, that's awesome.
Because that means one of your oldest memories is Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that you ever recall. Which is incredible.
That's a stark contrast to me, where my first real memory is getting a full body rash from eating peanut butter at 3 years old.
And and that too, I even set the TV up and connected it to the cable thing too. I set everything up. I had to push, because I was 2. I pushed the TV corner. Plugged it in, hooked up the little cable thing with my little fingers, and I just...
One sec. You guys can keep talking.
But about the who would win, the counterpart of Abba Ranger and the Black Dino Thunder, I think it would be a draw. Because yes, Tommy is an expert martial artist. He does have the experience, but his Super Sentai counterpart had the most experience with the Black Dino Thunder power.
I never thought about that. That makes a lot of sense.
He could draw out its full potential more.
Yeah, and the black Ranger or Senshi or whatever the word you want to use, in Abba Ranger, Black actually had a lot bigger of a role.
Yeah, and he was a soldier.
Yeah.
Too. So in that regard, probably because
As I said, I mean, I personally think Tommy would win, but it's not by a very large margin.
I would say it would be a draw. Because Tommy's character was constantly training where the Appa guy wasn't probably. Yeah, soldiers don't train all that much, but with him, he was constantly training. With Tommy's character, he was constantly training. So in that regard, yes, more combat ready experience, but I think it would be a draw because there's certain things that just balance out. I would give that to both of them. It would be a tie.
I can see how you would say that. Alright. Unless there's any other things you guys want to mention about JDF, I think we can end the episode. And if you guys don't mind staying on for a little bit, just to again help me out with the fan fiction, please.
Yeah, I can stick around while I'm getting ready for work. But then I got to head out because they called me earlier because they were getting a little slammed. But
if you, it doesn't matter how long. I really need help.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
All right. 100%. So, final thoughts on Jason David Frank. Jason, you have the most experience with him here, so.
It's the only thing that I keep trying to tell myself, I keep talking about, or keep putting in my head, is like I mentioned earlier. For me personally, I feel like in the Rangerverse, because of who he was, I feel like we lost our soul. Like that's what it feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I agree.
So I just try and think about the way I felt about Power Rangers after the Zordon era, after Andros smashed the tube, and you're like, you seriously just killed Zordon, and then you went, well, the morphin grid's still there, the power's still here. We just have to keep being Power Rangers. We just have to keep being Power Rangers and make Zordon proud, and that's what goes to my head. Is I'm like, the part of why I do anything I do, part of why I got into martial arts, part of why I'm always kind to people, part of why I'm always trying to help, always trying to this, is because that's what Power Rangers do.
Exactly.
And so I just, in my head, I'm constantly, I'm always dealing with my anxiety, my depression, and how I feel about all sorts of things. And even though I was never a big fan of the way Jason David Frank, his wording when it comes to the things he's written is a little simplistic for my liking. Yeah. But his content is always the exact same thing, and his message is always the exact same thing.
Yeah, he's always talking about.
Yeah.
He's always talking about the ideals.
Yeah.
You gotta be kind to people. You gotta get through it.
If anyone is a fan or is ever feeling any kind of way, just think about the fact that the Green Ranger, he went through all these things and he empathized with every single person, and he still after posting so many good things, he still lost his battle, and there's always, as a Ranger family, we're always here for each other. I've never met anyone at a con who wasn't the exact same kind of fan, and the Ranger family.
I met the only convention. I've only been to 2 conventions in my entire life, which I need to fix.
Yeah.
As I said, I got the movie Morpher at Steel City Comic Con, and I met a few other Power Rangers fans, because obviously Aisha was there, and so was Zordon, and so obviously I met Power Rangers fans there, and holy crap, I've never met nicer people.
Yeah.
Like, Zordon himself, Aisha herself, like, obviously we're talking about Jason today, but they deserve credit as well. They're just incredible people.
It's the Ranger family, man. I've gone to a whole bunch of different cons, and there's always ridiculous drama at cons. Never at Ranger cons, never with the Ranger family, because we're all good people, fucking Power Rangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
We're always here for each other.
Yeah, like, Jay, there's one comparison I need to make, and it's not even really a comparison. It's a one side versus the other type of thing. Like, the brony community. You would think a community based on a show like My Little Pony, which is kind of has the same ideals as Power Rangers, being kind to people and crap. The brony community? Have you seen some of the crap they get into? That is, like, I don't want to make it sound like bronies are all assholes. They're not. Like, our friend Brandon, he can be a bit weird sometimes, but he's on the autism spectrum, so that makes sense. But
he knows exactly who he is and what he's doing, and I love him for it.
Yeah, Brandon is a special person in himself, but there are a lot of good bronies out there. But there are a lot of asshole bronies out there.
I can count on one hand how many Rangers I met that I went, I actually wasn't a fan of that person. And I've met so many Rangers to where that's insane. Like, there should be, with the ratio of people I meet to not liking them, I should not like at least half the Rangers I've met. And, like, no, there's... And I'm not talking about Power, like, the Power Rangers themselves are all great. I mean just in
the people themselves. It's incredible. The Power Rangers community is incredible.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's, anyone who feels any of these ways, like, look up JDF's YouTube, look it up. Look, he puts out. He did a video called "In My Head," where he sits down with every single one of his personality traits, all of his problems, and he's talking to them like a disappointed parent. Just trying to, like, pull through how he's feeling. And at one point, he gets to an empty chair, and he goes, "I'm glad this guy's not here today because that's suicide." And it really was tough to watch, because at that point in time, he felt like he beat it. At that point in time, he was like, so glad that guy's not here because this. And just if you just go through and watch any of his content, like, he's never been shy about how he's feeling. He's never been shy about his depression, his anxiety, any of it, and he's always only ever tried to help, and he's still lost his fight. So, kinds of ways, especially given we
don't do this to me.
I'm just trying to say, like, for anyone out there, who might feel any kind of way, like, reach out. The Power Ranger family is a whole family for a reason.
Yes.
Like, we're a whole family for a reason. And, like, because everyone knows that Jason could have called any fucking one of us, any one of us, and we would have had 1,000 fucking people on the phone cheering him on and fucking stick around.
Indeed.
So, we're all family. You guys don't ever feel like there's no one, because we're all here.
All right. So, Jack, go ahead. Final words.
So, like you said, like, this, I'm going to throw one other person in here that did the same thing JDF did. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See,
I mean, completely different sector of acting and whatever, but very similar.
But here's the thing. We as fans, I think it's the same. Yeah, I might have to bag on the Power Ranger community a little bit, because, like, this is, to me, I think it's partially, like, our fault a little bit, because, like, we
idolized him.
We idolized him, put him on a pedestal and stuff. But we didn't see, like, it's the same thing with Robin Williams. We didn't say, look, just
he's a human being.
So much doesn't mean not to take care of yourself. If you need to take a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, hell, even 10-year break, we'll still be here for you when you return. We just wanted more, and more. We didn't say, look, we didn't tell them, take some time for yourself. Take it easy. Like, go get your mental faculties back. So when you come back, you can receive a greater reception. And with JDF, it was like his PP group, PPP program.
Power
Just wanted to continue to do that. We didn't say, look, take a break, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just
Agreed.
And we didn't. We said, keep filming. We want to see this. We want to see this.
Yeah, we want to see you at this convention. We want to see you in this episode of the show.
We basically, and you'll probably get hateful comments, and I'm okay with that. We basically pushed him toward it because, like, we didn't say take care of yourself. We
depleted the man. We completely depleted him.
Yeah, like
we love him so much. We just demanded his attention.
It's like, all right, who's played God of War Ragnarok?
I've played the original God of War games, not the newer ones.
So, like, it's a part of this game where,
like, I know in the newer God of War games, Kratos is, like, older and he has a son or something.
He is, but in one of the, and this is coming from God of War, one brother died. Someone died in there, and they had a brother. The brother lived and said, the brother said, you just keep taking and taking and taking and never giving. And that's basically what we did to both Robin Williams and JDF. We just kept taking and taking. We didn't give anything back in return.
Well, I don't know if that's entirely true. I mean, we do watch the show after all.
Yes, watch.
He lived. Like, as much as we demanded so much from him, like, he lived to be a ranger. That was his, like, he was a fanboy just as much as the rest of us. If you look at all the pictures he has with celebrities, that was him going, look who I got a picture with. Like, it was, for him, he wanted to give us, he lived to give us the same feeling that he knew he was getting when he met his heroes,
Yeah, but even he probably at one point felt the same way, the way I'm talking now is like, but you got to take care of yourself, take a break.
I get you.
He didn't take no time for himself, and that's where we probably really drove him, is like, we didn't, as fans, we should know when our heroes need help, and when they need to take care of themselves, but as a community, we didn't come together as a community and say, take care of yourselves, take some time. Like, we want to see you, yes, but take time for yourself so we can appreciate you. We as a community, as a Power Ranger community, I think need to step up more in that regard. Is like, and say, hey,
tell
the
actors you need to take some time for yourself. Definitely. Alright, so here's my take. As I said, I don't want to make this seem like I don't like JDF. I loved the man. I still love the man. But my perspective on JDF and Tommy is a weird one, I know. But when it comes to the character himself, there's literally no more iconic character in Power Rangers than Tommy Oliver. And there are various reasons for that, and the actor himself, Jason David Frank, is most definitely one of them. Like, I mean, Anthony can probably talk about this a little bit because he's done some voice acting and stuff. But like, acting is a very special talent. Not everybody can be an actor.
Yeah.
And when at the end of the day, you're playing a character. With Jason David Frank, I feel like he wasn't playing a character. He was playing himself on the screen.
Yeah, he was more Tommy Oliver than he was Jason Frank.
Like, I don't know. Like, I've seen various tributes put out there by Amy Jo Johnson and Austin St. John and whatever, I can't remember his name right now, Black Ranger.
Walter Jones.
Walter, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen Walter and Austin and Amy all put out their tributes, even Zordon.
David, eh?
They've all put out their tributes for JDF, and that's great. My regret is never going out there to see the man. Because I'm never going to get to do that now.
Yeah. That's just
one of these days, I'm going to get out there to a con, and I'll see Sean Carter Grayson from Lightspeed.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be my goal, because I don't want this to happen where Sean dies, because that's going to hit hard for me. Because as I keep saying, Lightspeed is my favorite. But, Tommy is a huge loss. JDF is a huge loss to the community. Not only is he a huge loss to the Power Rangers community, he's a huge loss to the acting community. He's a huge loss to the world.
Yeah, literally too. Like I don't know if people realize he had his own karate.
He has his own school, and
his own school.
They put out a statement after he died, and they're just like, this place is not closing down. We are keeping this open to keep his legacy alive.
Wasn't it him and is it him and Rocky do the school? Him and Steve, whatever, right?
Steve Cardone.
Yeah.
Venus, yeah.
Yeah,
He
teaches
BJJ there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yep. And that's
now,
it's wild. But
all right,
he had school and he did the power protection program. Like there's so much that he
did so many things. He did so many things. He was everywhere.
Every section of the community, like there are people that could go to a school to learn martial arts who have no idea, like, that he's a Power Ranger because they never watched Power Rangers or care. He did so much for so.
And then he was doing Legend of the White Dragon, like, right up until he died.
Yeah. And his daughter made a post saying they are still going to release.
Yeah. Fortunately.
Here.
Yeah, fortunately, all production and all filming was done. They were still editing, but all filming and production was done prior to him passing. So there's no reason that shouldn't still happen.
All right, so it's been about 2 hours. So this episode is going to come to an end now. But as I said, you two, please, fanfiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anyway, but enough about that. So, our hearts go out to the family of Jason David Frank. We are with you. The Power Rangers community is with you. Our hearts go out to you, Jason. Up wherever you are.
Yeah.
You are loved. Your life, it was incredible. Your legend will live on.
Yeah.
From the three of us, from the entire Power Rangers community, may the power protect you. Always. Yeah. And with that, I'm Trevor.
I'm Wes.
I'm Jano.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you for staying with us for this long thing. We really appreciate it. All right.